That's what I'm talking about.
Hello everybody, and oh my god, Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth was just released yesterday, and whew, is it something special. This game is so far different from any other installment in the Civ franchise, it feels more like you're playing StarCraft than Civilization. And there's a lot to talk about, there's a lot to take in, and I'm gonna just tell you my first impressions of it. So, Beyond Earth starts up like any other Civ game. You open it up, there's a little cutscene, you skip that, and then you're on the main menu with the single player, multiplayer options, etc., etc. And then from there, it just becomes completely different. So, your choices for your Civs that you want to pick, basically all the current countries of Earth have formed into 8 different confederations, and those all give a certain bonus. And the bonus system is completely different in this Civ. So you pick which confederation, conglomerate you want, and they have one bonus. And then from there, you get to pick 4 other bonuses, at least I'm pretty sure it's 4, for a bunch of other things. So you can get a whole ton of combinations for different bonuses just from the get-go. And so that's kind of a new thing, and there aren't any old classical leaders. It's all kind of new, made-up people and confederations. And then, you choose your difficulties and stuff, load the game, and then you pick a spot to land. It's kind of like the Settlers in the different one, but you're kind of forced to pick a spot. And from there, it's kind of an overwhelming amount of information. You start off, and even if you've played Civ 5 a lot like I have, there's so much stuff where you just wonder, what the hell is going on? Because there's just a lot of options. So my first recommendation would be watch a tutorial. Watch a tutorial, watch something, watch someone play the game, look at the instructions, do something so that you're not just overwhelmed and flooded with this information just pouring down on you, because it's kind of a lot. But once you get past that kind of overwhelming wall of information and sensory overload, you start to see how cool the game really is. It looks really nice. It looks a lot like StarCraft. Again, I'll keep mentioning StarCraft because it really reminds me of StarCraft. And so it's an alien planet. There are a bunch of aliens which have replaced barbarians. There's kind of these made-up minerals and materials that are your resources now. And it's freaking awesome. Like, I had no idea what I was doing for the first 30 minutes, and I freaking loved doing it. So, I mean, you kind of start off just like any other Civ game, and then you can found, like, outposts instead of cities. They grow into cities, and they're satellites, and then there are aliens, and, like, space marines, and robots. It is your childhood dreams all come to life. You get to build your own, like, space civilization and fight off evil aliens. I haven't really gotten into it. Again, this is just my first impressions, but it was awesome. And the most notable difference between this game and the other Civ games is the different options you have to winning the game. And by that I mean they didn't add in like a whole new types of victories to do anything. Well, I mean, they might have. I don't really know. I haven't gotten that far yet. But what I mean by that is they've added different ways to advance in Civ. Normally, there's the one tech tree and the different units with a set order to follow where you're trying to build up to the best unit. But in Beyond Earth, you have that option to go branch out to the best unit, or you can like take your units and your techs and just upgrade those to the max level. So it's really revolutionary for the series. So basically what it is, I'll just talk about the tech tree first. So it's a huge web, okay? If you didn't know, there's a huge web, which is also super confusing to look at because there's so many more options than the normal tree. But you can put multiple points into one tech to advance it, or its subtechs to advance that kind of group, or it branch out to the other parts in the web. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do. Like, you could pick just the core techs. The core techs. You could just pick the core techs. I don't know why that was funny. I just thought it was. And advance them fully and totally flesh that part out and just leave the periphery blank. And you can go through the game like that. or you can just advance and try to get like some of everything. And I think that's really cool that I don't think Sid Meier made the entire game, but that Sid Meier just implemented the system where you don't have to follow a set order to become the best, where you can pick if you want to, do some of this or some of that, and you can still get really advanced in the game. And the same thing is with combat. Like, they still have the unit upgrades, but now there's like types of unit upgrades where you have soldiers, and then those individual things can get like the plus attack bonus or heal stuff from experience, but then they also can turn into marines through some sort of other experience system. It's crazy. And just this whole game is so different from what the other games have been. And it's awesome. But there's just so much to look at, and you really need to watch something to get a grasp on what you're doing. Otherwise, you'll just end up floundering for air. And so in my closing remarks, this game is freaking awesome. It was totally worth the $50 I didn't spend that my friend gifted to me that I would have spent. It is just... it's your childhood dreams come to life on the screen. It's so cool. There's aliens, there's just like a bunch of sci-fi stuff. It's a total nerdgasm. And it's awesome. I mean, I don't fully understand what's going on, but it still has most of the same mechanics as the Civ game. You just have to find out where they put the buttons on this one. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it evolves, but like how it evolves as in me learning how to play the game and learning how to play the game and how to play it well, and what are good upgrades, what are bad upgrades, what does this do, what the heck does this do. And so my first impressions of the game, really confusing, very cluttered. There's a whole lot of new stuff you need to get yourself acquainted with and learn about. But I think once you get over that hump of just this knowledge gap that you have, it's really cool, and there's a lot of cool new features to this game, and it's completely different from the other Civ games. So, in conclusion, if you like Civ in the past, or if you're like a sci-fi RTS StarCraft fan, this game is totally worth it, and it's going to be really neat to see what comes out of this game in the near future, and hopefully I'll put up some more content on it, but this game is really cool. So, thank you so much for watching. Those are just my first impressions of the game. I haven't gotten too far into it myself, but I really want to. And so, take care, everybody. See you next time.